guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. This is part 2 of my Yardmachine 17.5 horsepower 42 wide lawn tractor that I got for free. That's right, free. I got the carcass for free from my friend Nick. We actually traded for a bunch of stuff. I think it was just a push mower, and I got 2 carcasses without engines. Well, I put my John Deere, well, it's not really a John Deere, it's a 17.5 Briggs single cylinder engine, the one that I fixed the synchro balancer in, and it seems to run really well. I don't know about the carburetor though. Carburetor was a brand new one, but it was a cheap Chinese copy, and it runs a little rough, you know, honestly. It takes some tuning to get it back into shape. Yesterday when I tried it for the first time, I realized that it moves forward and backwards, but very sluggish. And today I climbed underneath and figured out why. I had the belt over one of the keepers, so I fixed that. So now it should drive forward and backwards well. Another issue was that the blades, the belt is too tight, okay? And so, you know, when it's down like this at setting number 1, the lowest, it doesn't pull on the blades. But then when I lift it above 2 or 3, the blades start engaging by itself without even touching the PTO. So I'm thinking the belt is too tight, which I don't understand why it would be too tight, because it's the original belt with the original pulley. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is actually adjustable. So the front part here, the 2 bars, if I would pull it forward an inch, you know, by screwing it, this will alleviate an inch worth of belt. Or I could take that belt off and put I have lots of belts. I'm sure I could find one that's an inch longer, you know what I mean? And that ought to work. What bothered me was that the lights didn't work either. So I went through the wiring again, and the lights work. I love lights. So lights work. I just got to figure out the belt. Alright, I'll take you underneath here. So as you can see, this is underneath. That's the crankshaft pulley. So right now, it's not very tight. Okay? Goes all the way back there. Everything seems copacetic. But then when I raise the thing all the way to the top, right? Level 5. Belt. It's very tight, really tight. So I want to alleviate belt. So I think I'm just going to try to find a belt that's a little longer. I'm going to take that off. But before I go underneath there and ripping all kinds of belts out, it's a pain in the butt, I'm going to try this. So I've just loosened this bolt over here, right, and I brought it back about an inch. It's a 3/4. Brought it back about an inch, and I'm just going to tighten that one an inch back, so this should pull it 1 inch forward. If it pulls it 1 inch forward, right, I should have 1 inch of slack, or close to it, you know. I know it doesn't seem like it's very tight right now, but that's because the deck is down. If it was up, it would be tighter than hell. I'm actually thinking about pulling it more than an inch, just to be sure. I'll do it like a ½ an inch away from here. I could always adjust it, you know, as I need to. But I just don't want the blades to be moving when I start it, you know. So I screwed this all down about an inch. And while it helped a little, it's still engaged. However, it's really difficult to get it above 3 now. I mean, I gotta really pull it to get it above, so I gotta put that back. In the interim, the belt flew off. So I took it off, and I have this old John Deere RX-75 one that's about an inch or 2 longer. That should give me enough slack. I'm gonna try that. So I've been messing with this thing for like 2 hours, trying different belts, I added a spring under there for the return of the PTO. Engine still doesn't run very good. Runs rough. I think the carburetor has been kajiji'd. The only thing I could say about it is I got the lights to work. I did change the fuel filter to the regular one, thinking that that might be the reason. I've been messing with the air fuel mixture screw left and right. Doesn't seem to make any difference. Bring this to the highest level. When I bring it to the highest level, it wants to engage a PTO. Only on 3 will it not engage, unless you actually do the hand. So, yep, still needs work. I think the carburetor's bad, even though it's brand new, you know. Unless the intake manifold has a leak in it. Maybe it's a gasket. Maybe that carburetor just kajiji'd. The deck, I could fix it if I just got a bigger belt, but I don't understand why. The only other thing I could think of is that this has evidence that it's hit something really hard and it bent the frame a little bit, making the belts tighter, you know. That could be it too. But other than that, the spindle seemed to be good on the mower deck. Engine seems to run well, you know, considering what I did to it, you know, rebuilding the synchro balancer counterweight thing, you know, and hasn't blown up on me, so I did it. I guess I did the right thing, and I did a good job on the engine. But that carburetor's screwy, man. I mean, everything works. I drive it forward and backwards just fine, you know, so the drive belt is fine, and the drive system works, and the tranny works. It's just the belts of the mower deck is bugging me, and it runs rough. So I'll do some more research and try to figure it out. But this tractor is now alive again, breathing with a new heart, and when I start getting it, you know, nipping off pieces of getting this to be perfect, I guess I'll paint it. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. So I decided to take the carburetor apart and the intake manifold, and took the fuel air mixture screw out, and it's bent. Not that it makes any difference, you know why? Because only this part goes inside, you know. However, it's not very sharp. It's supposed to be really sharp. That's how it makes a difference, you know what I mean? But if it's not that sharp and it's all one width, I don't think it makes much difference. Looking at the intake manifold tube. Look at that. I've never seen that before. It's almost like a part of it is sealed off. I figured out that it's probably designed that way so that if there was any fuel that would leak, right, it would stop it from going into there unless it overflowed over that lip. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool, actually, you know? See what I mean? So it's a new carburetor, you know what I mean? So I don't know why it doesn't work. It's also a Nicky. Well, I wish I had another carburetor to try, but looks like I might just have to order another one just to rule this one out, you know? Because it doesn't run that good. And I still gotta figure out the damn belt. Maybe I should just order a new belt that's an inch longer. The MTDs all have a sticker under the hood that tells you what parts are for what. And the model number, part number. So I'm going to go find out what the length of this is stock. And then go on eBay and look the D&D belts. D&D belts has every damn belt size there is. And super cheap. Super cheap. Like $5. $5 to $10. So I'll spend another $10 on a new carburetor and maybe $5 on a belt just to straighten this out. I'm not lying on the ground trying to figure out why this, that, and the other thing. I'm pretty sure a longer belt will fix my deck belt problem, and a new carburetor will probably fix that problem. So I'm gonna have to order that stuff and wait. I actually found an old one that was sitting around my drawer. I'm just gonna clean it and put it on and just see if it works. I don't know. Same problem. It doesn't run right. Now I'm thinking it's probably the engine. Maybe the governor? Maybe it's that flap that, you know, in the intake manifold. You know, that line there that cuts off like half of the hole. Does that cause maybe something to not work right, you know? Could it be the governor? Because it seems fine, you know? Doesn't go anymore all the way. Doesn't go anymore all the way. If you adjusted it anymore, it wouldn't work right. Seems fine to me. Open, closed. Open, closed. Maybe it's the carburetor? Two carburetors? Or could it be that flap? Just to rule that out, I have a gasket here that isn't cut off. It's a full circle. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to throw that in there. Well, it's really hot around there, but I got it off and put the other one on, so it's not obstructed by this, like 1/3 of it is blocked off. And I'm going to give that a try. Wow, that really makes a difference. It won't even start. Unless I'm at super low idle. It sort of wants to, but not really. never heard of anything like that before. That's amazing. I'm going to put it back. It's quite interesting. Never seen such a thing or heard of such a thing. That won't start at all. Crazy, man. Of course, my battery died, so it's on charger now. Back to the original carburetor. Well, it starts and runs, but not well. I'm gonna have to get a new carburetor because it was definitely a bad carburetor or something else. Hey guys, it's another morning, and while I'm waiting for a new carburetor to come, hopefully that's it. If not, I'll be stumped and not know exactly why this engine doesn't run right. But remember, I rebuilt it, so maybe that's why it doesn't run right. Anyway, so this mower deck thing is driving me crazy, but you know what? Nobody said it was going to always be easy. You're going to run into things that you have to work on and, you know, be a little bit creative and try to work things out. But, so look, the original belt on here was a 1/2 inch by 60 inches, right? And I, you know, thought that it was just too tight, you know. You guys saw the blades move when I don't even do anything, so the blade's just too tight, you know, I don't know why. So I thought about, so I put that old John Deere one that was 1/2 by 62. So and that was too loose. So I'm thinking I need to get a 1/2 inch by 61. That would probably work, you know. So right before I was about to order it, I says, hey, I have a box of belts from my boy Nick over at 5-Speed Ash, one of my YouTube subscribers, and he gave me a whole box full of belts. So I went in there and I grabbed one, and it was exactly 1/2 by 61. Can you believe it? So I actually have a few of them in there. So I threw it on here, and while it's still a little loose, it works. When I engage the PTO, it goes on. When I disengage the PTO, it goes off. However, it's still a little loose, and I figured out why. Somebody's been in here and removed the guides, the keepers. It's supposed to be in that hole there, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there on the other side too. So I'm gonna have to make some kind of keepers, like maybe a rod that goes straight up like this and keeps that there, and on the other side too, because there's no keepers here. It'll just fly right off, you know. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to find a long bolt and just stick it in that hole. So I made some keepers, or belt guides, if you will. Just took this long rod, stuck it in that hole. Keeps this belt from flying off of that pulley, right? And the other side too. That one right there. Hopefully that'll work. I'm going to start it up and see if the belt comes off. This damn thing starts. Well, the belt didn't come off. The engine stopped. That's weird, man. When I engage the blades, the engine shuts off. I don't think it's attached to any kill switches. Engine just had to warm up. Deck seems to work fine. Belt didn't come off. Some vapor coming out of the breather hose. This is on low idle. You hear kind of a knocking sound. gonna wait until I get a new carburetor and see what's up. Well, while I'm waiting for the carburetor, I might as well make it look a little better. Much disarray. Hey? This is for JD retiree who loves boba. The paint on this thing is just so faded that you can tell a big difference, you know? You can see the difference between the painted parts and the non-painted parts. So it doesn't look good unless I paint the whole damn thing, which I don't really want to do, because while the paint, you know, it's actually okay in certain areas, you know, I might just get some spray paint, rattle can of red, and I was gonna just about to do the hood, but I decided against it. I figured a rattle can, just go right over it, one coat, gotta look better, you know, and then touch up the areas here with a rattle can. So this enamel paint, what it does is at least it coats the areas where it's all rusted, and because it's thick oil enamel, it'll build up like a little layer of paint that's covering the chip parts, you know. So then when I go over it with a rattle can, it ought to look a lot better. It's just the masking that's a pain in the butt, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's it today. I've had just about enough of this thing, but you know what? That's what I'm doing this for. It's just project after project after project. Getting a thing destined for the curb. Got an engine on there. I'm not even 100% sure this engine actually works right, because I hear some knocking. Maybe sometime soon you'll see me riding around with this, mowing my lawn with it. How about that? Free! That's right, free. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Boom! If anything, it's to keep the moisture out. Looks alright! Automatic transmission fluid. Oh, son of a gun. Look at that. Look at that. The super faded parts don't work very well. That middle part I just did, that looks good. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Holy cow. What a difference. Maybe I won't have to paint it. Look at that. Sure, you guys got ATF laying around the house. Give it a try. Don't believe me. Don't believe the magic of CGI. Try it yourself. It works. I just went and tried this on the hood. Look at it. I did half. Obviously the one on the left. One on the right I haven't done yet. I even did the sides on this side. Guys. That looks brand new, man. Crazy, right? Maybe I won't paint it. Check this out. Hey. Some parts of it just like pops, and then other parts of it doesn't, you know? Like here. This is too faded. Darkens it up a little. I don't know. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit and see if it absorbs some of this mineral oil ATF. This was definitely parked. The right side of that thing was definitely parked on the side of the sun. This other side on the left looks much better. Eh? It's like spraying hair on a bald man. $0.98. Man, that is the best 98 cents, man. I've used this 1 98-cent can for like a lot of stuff already. Very useful. Available at your local Home Depot. Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Also follow me on Instagram at Mower's Blowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on the next one. Have a great day.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.